Hi, this is Jim Bond with the 11th in a series that I'm doing on lessons learned from our 30 years living with myeloma. My caregiver and I have learned a lot of lessons. Today's session is on the use of steroids. My use of steroids began with dexamethasone when I was first diagnosed in 1992. And it was part of the treatments to get me ready for my first stem cell transplant. And each of my stem cell transplants, all four of them, have involved the use of dexamethasone. And then after I got in remission, and maintenance drugs came out, I took prednisone with a maintenance drug for about a decade until I had to have one hip replaced. And the surgeon informed me that he believed the reason I had the hip replaced was because of the long-term use of steroids that I was required to take for the myeloma. And that was good information for me, because I then went back to my oncology team and asked them to please drop the prednisone as part of the maintenance treatments. And they weren't thrilled by the idea, but they agreed to go ahead and try, see if the drug would work without the steroid prednisone, and it did. Now, the other hip is still fine, and that's 17 years after the one was replaced. And being at higher risk doesn't mean it's going to go bad, but it may. But it was something I had to do to take the dexamethasone. The one thing I do to monitor my skeleton is every year I get a skeletal x-ray, and the doctor compares that to the year before to see how much my thinning bones have changed, or my lytic lesions have changed. So that gives me a little bit of comfort over what's going on. Dexamethasone had difficult side effects for me and other patients. And I also know it was very hard on my wife, Kathleen, as my caregiver. She could tell when I was on steroids, and so could people who were around me. I was confused and I was having difficulty sleeping. Of course, to me it all seemed fine, but to them, they knew I wasn't quite myself. But Kathleen came up with a phrase that kind of encapsulates my behavior during steroids. She said, "Yeah, Jim was kind of out of sorts and on the steroids, but that's why God made doors, so we could be separate on those days when he was out of control." And my kids made me a hat that said Captain Chaos on it. I have a funny sense of humor in my family. So anyhow, those are my comments on steroids. I guess the avascular necrosis thing was a thing you might not be aware of, but it's something we have to probably deal with as we keep ourselves alive with treatments that need to involve dexamethasone. So I have more to say in my book, and all the profits from that book go to cancer charities. And you can get to my book by searching my name, Bond, and the word myeloma and the word book, Bond Myeloma Book, and it should get you there. So I look forward to talking to you in the next episode. Thank you.